So let's call the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Committee meeting to order. May I have motion for the minutes? Move. Second, call the questions in favor. Opposed, motion carry. So the next meeting will be July 19th at 4 o'clock, same time, same place. And before we go to the delegations, I want to ask if there's any addition to the agenda. Yes, so I know that Councillor Glandis wanted to ask questions on the lacrosse and hockey box, and also about ice time. So I would make it into 4A and 4B. So any further addition with that? So we go to item number 1, delegations. So we're very happy to have the KPU team to come to the meeting and present the exciting stories that they want to share. So first of all, I'd like to invite Rebecca and Mike to come forward and tell us about the Farm Economy Lands 2022 report. Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
Great.
Well, thank you for having us. We're really pleased to be able to share our progress here, and it's exciting because things keep changing. There's always something going on at the Garden City lands. So here's an overview of some of the figures from the report that we submitted for 2022. Our license area, our license to use, covers 20 acres or 8 hectares in all. But the phase 1 area is where we've been farming for the last, since 2018. And that's a 8-acre or 3-hectare site that is shown on the slide here. You can see the horticultural crops, the field crops, berries, and the orchard. We're really excited about expanding into what we'll call phase 2, where soil was deposited last year. Now, because of the contamination at the site, and because of concerns about maintaining the carbon that's sequestered in the peat, mineral soil has been layered over top of the peat. About 70 centimeters of mineral soil needs to be layered over the top of the peat. And at this point, there isn't enough soil yet for us to begin farming on the north side. So we're waiting for appropriate soil so we can actually move into that zone. I also want to mention the Bog Conservation and Restoration Zone over on the right-hand side of the slide here. I've become really excited about working on the bog and trying to restore that bog. So zooming in on the production area, the area we've been farming for the last 5 years, we have a 6-year crop rotation in the market gardens. We have a 9-year crop rotation in our high tunnels, which are passive solar season extension technologies, and these tunnels slide to allow us to rotate. Over on the east side are kind of our lower labor crops, so things like cabbage, kale, squash, potatoes, garlic, things that take up more space and maybe not quite as much time. And then we've just been establishing an orchard in the far east side, and that's going to expand over the next couple of years. To give you some numbers on our production, we've seen production grow each year. So I've shown you here 2020, 21, and 22 data. And you can see some of our top crops on those slides. You can see that production is up. Last year, about $50,000 worth was sold at the market just across the street here. About 40,000, I think, at wholesale, and the remainder was donated to the Richmond Food Bank. So a total of just over $120,000 worth of produce that we grew there last year. I'll pass this over to Rebecca now to carry on.
Great. So one of the things we've been excited about is expanding how we interface with the community. It's been really exciting to have people walk through that farm, lots of multi-generational families that are engaging with it, and we want to find ways for them to engage and to learn about what we're doing, since that's one of the beauties of being in that space. We've started using an app called iNaturalist, and we're going to be putting up some information about that so that community members can look at the types of species they find and to learn about the different types of species of plants, insects, birds, that are on that site. And so this is something that's been really quite fun to also watch and see how many people are engaged with the site. And hopefully we will, over time, really build up a good bank. It's a wonderful tool for schools to use as well, to kind of interface with the ecosystem that is right in the heart of the city. So it's one of our little projects, but a really fun one, I think, to partner with community members. You will notice this year, if you go to the site, the Learning Garden, which is just behind the dome along the one of our farm roads, is expanding. We were fortunate to receive a grant from TD Bank for $300,000, and so that is for community engagement. And so some of the things we're doing are expanding the garden, making more space accessible. One of our points of tension is having a commercial farm that is operating and wanting the public to engage, but not necessarily wanting them underneath our tractor or sort of in the way of our operations. And so we're really looking to create spaces that are available for the community to interface with. This is where we have lots of different community events throughout the summer. And it's a really quite beautiful, actually, over the course of the season. You'll see in some of the photos we had the Richmond the Minoru Senior Center was out, the Richmond Disabilities Group has been out. There's quite a variety of community organizations that we've been able to facilitate some outings for them. So next steps, there's a few key things that are coming in terms of outreach. We're doing some kids camp that are really just community outreach initiative, expansion of the Learning Garden, improving our signage on there, and we've been working with City as well, having our signage approved. The Northfield expansion, as Mike was talking about, we're really looking forward to being able to move into that space. And on infrastructure, in the last report last year, actually, there was a barn that was going to be built, and that has since had to change. That barn could not be built for a variety of reasons. But this is a storage shed that we're building. We really need a space to keep our equipment safe from both elements and hands, and to allow us to tidy up the space a little bit. So hopefully this will be begin construction. We're in the permitting process right now. So that's sort of what lies ahead. There's lots more detail in the report, and I would encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions or have any comments. You're always welcome to visit us at the farm.
Yes, thanks for the
Thank you.
presentation. Certainly with questions. So Councillor Malonty?
Yeah, just first of all, thanks very much for coming and all the work that you've done. Before I ask my question, and we got to get more advertising for the market over there, okay? And
yes.
I can only carry so many bags. But I hope everybody else would do the same thing. We've topped that up. But I'm serious. We got to try to do our best. And I hope the sign bylaw people will allow you to have a sign for 4 hours out on the boulevard. It's a part and parcel of our program. But anyhow, that's another thing. Maybe staff can take that under advisement. Just a quick question. Everything you've done is great, and are doing is great. In the KPU agricultural program, how many students are enrolled now in the program, and what is their involvement in specifically with the Garden City lands, etc.? I mean, they're doing some new courses or whatever.
So we offer a Bachelor of Applied Science in Sustainable Agriculture. It's a 4-year degree program, and of course enrollment fluctuates somewhat, but typically there are about 50 students in the 4 years. And of course, we're, just as you're suggesting, we need to improve signage. We're really hoping to boost enrollment. We expect to. We're targeting doubling that enrollment over the coming years. All of our students engage with the Garden City lands. In fact, we require, one of the requirements is a full year hands-on production series called Agri-Ecosystems Management. So the students enroll in January. That's a crop planning and starting our transplants and getting the high tunnels running and that sort of thing in the first semester. Second semester, we double the hours, and so we've just come from the farm actually with our students. They're full days on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they run through the summer when most things are growing, and then the fall we cut the hours back again. But they're right there through the end of the year, and then they are making recommendations that get passed on to the next cohort of students. So everybody experiences a full year production cycle. That has been in the senior part of the program. We're actually revising the program right now to move that to the junior part. So right off the bat, they'll get the hands-on experience. We also offer a full year of research. There's a required research experience. And so that's another January through December program. Typically, our agroecosystems management students have conducted their research concurrently with that experience, and we're hoping that as we shift the program, we'll have the senior students doing the research and the junior students really getting the hands-on experience.
Good. Thanks very much, and keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Yeah, Michael?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you through the chair to delegations. A couple of comments and questions. So first off, what's the peat that's been spread over the new phase land? What's it been like? I remember seeing it when it was piled up, and there's a lot of plastic and greenhouse fragments in it. Is there still more coming out?
No, actually. So all of that, so the material that you saw with the farm waste that was in the peat was all screened, and so the detritus kind of got trucked off site after screening everything, and what was laid down was quite clean. So clean in two ways. One, we're concerned about the contaminants we can't see, where we have to do soil testing to make sure that it's clean. And then the other is the visible contaminants, the plastic contamination and that sort of thing that could be screened out. And that was screened out before it was deposited.
So through the chair, was there any chemical residues found through some of the?
No, it was clean. Yeah. So the underlying peat there's contamination there, and that's the reason for the mineral soil being layered above. But the soil that was brought in was tested and is clean. Yeah.
Great. And the follow-up, the soil that came from the polygon site down Garden City Road, but did that not go as far as we thought it would?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it didn't go as far as it needed to. So we don't have the full 70 centimeters of mineral soil on top, and so we've cover cropped that area so that it won't go to weeds. But we're still waiting for more soil in order to be able to start farming there. Yeah.
Okay. My next question. Well, a couple of comments first. The iNaturalist, I wish I would have had that as a tool during all the tours I went on that site, and I would have loaded observations. The other one is, I noticed in the bar graph there, the largest section of crop products was the other category. So what were some of the other?
Yeah, so if you look at, there's a bar graph where I show all of the crops, and it's the one that shows kind of dollars per meter return. So what I showed in the bar graph was the top 10 in terms of volume or dollar value over these past 3 years. But if you're curious about some of the other crops, just have a look at that chart showing the dollar per meter, and that has everything there. So there's I guess close to 50 different crops that we're growing at the site.
Ginger.
Yes, yeah. Ginger was a very high value crop for us. It's been quite successful.
That's terrific. And my last question is about the sphagnum growth. So I know you and I both did some transplants, and just like kind of a 2-finger plug worth. Once it's touched the water, it's now ballooned into a big fist.
Nice.
Sphagnum coming out. So when do you plan on transplanting that into?
No, it's a good question. It sounds like perhaps you've had more success than me. I have some where it has bloomed into the big fist. I have some where it's still not quite as vigorous as I'd like. And so we started the transplants. We started the propagation in the dome, and I think so we had 4 trays or about 4,000 plants, I think, in the dome. And then we needed that space for our other transplants. So I shifted a couple of them onto the pond that acts as a heat sink on the north side of the dome, and those seem to be quite happy. I shifted a couple of them onto the seasonal pond that retains water from the high tunnel, and those ones all died. They weren't happy at all. So I'm starting another couple of trays under a tree where they're shaded. I think that it was just too exposed out in the outdoor pond. So yes, I have some that are quite vigorous, and I will likely transplant in the fall. I've tried transplanting spring and fall last year, and it seems like the fall transplants were much more successful. The spring, of course, everything dries out for several months, and that's really hard on the peat transplants. But where we transplanted in fall, they seem to be surviving quite nicely.
That's all. Thank you.
Laura?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you for the presentation. About the iNaturalist app, I use it all the time. Those are all my observations over the years. Did you say that you guys started that app?
No.
Okay. You just recommend using it.
That's
I was
right.
like, wow, I had no idea.
No, it's from the National Geographic and the California Science Council started that app, but it's a great tool.
It's really fantastic. It's really fun when other people comment on your observation and throw in their 2 cents. It's really fun. I feel so fortunate that I got to visit the site. I was at the Garden City Conservation Society meeting a few weeks ago, and so you did a farm tour. And I now have my husband looking into making a rolling greenhouses as a future bee in his bonnet, because I was so hooked on that idea. I was just wondering, can anybody just show up and get that kind of a tour from you? I mean, your time's busy, but...
We do have, during the summer, we have the twilight tours, the first Tuesday of every...
Second Tuesday.
Or second Tuesday of every month. So those are open to the public, and there is, on our website, people can contact us through that. So there are certainly lots of groups that come.
Counselors can contact.
We would love to have counselors come out. Yeah, absolutely. So counselors can just call us or just show up. We'll drop it all for you. No. Yeah, no, but truly it is. We want people to come and to hear our story. So we're very happy to host tours. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I just think is so valuable is just all the scientific information about the bog and how it works. And what was really fascinating to me is just the partnership that's developed between you, GCCS, and city staff, that staff doesn't just go mow, that, it's just this collaboration, like, let's try not mowing this area and see what happens, and that it's just such a beautiful thing that's happening there. I'm just so impressed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. Carol?
Thank you. Well, how lucky are we that we could host this wonderful educational research facility, university, right in the middle of the city. It's our Stanley Park, our version of a Stanley Park. It's just fabulous. Great report. I can't believe all the wonderful things you're doing. I'll definitely be sharing this with all my contacts. The one that gets me the most is, I talked to you earlier about this bog restoration. For years, we were told by staff that we just have to mow it, and so we went, okay, but now you've done that test, and I can see by the mowed versus unmowed study that the peat moss or the sphagnum moss is actually growing better in the unmowed area in certain locations. So that's just, I think that is information that everyone should get. I'm assuming you put it on the web, and people from around the world can learn from this study, because this is quite phenomenal. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. And my only question is about the 5 hectare on the north side that says 2023 onward. Are we going to start to see development of that area and expansion of this farm school?
Yeah, that north pad is where, once we have the soil, is that the new, is sort of the piece that we're waiting for. We're keen to go once that is there. So
that's all that's holding you back then? It's
that's what's holding us back, yeah, that's right.
Maybe the city can help with that.
Yeah, they have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I have a comment and a question, but I will go with the comment first. Well, I think this is a very exciting, successful partnership between the city and KPU, and I'm especially delighted that, as we were talking earlier, helping and grooming young farmers, and ask the question, how young? And I see in the report that you're talking about 10 to 12 years, right? Because you begin with the the learning garden and the summer program. I think this is excellent. I think, especially, I noticed that you also partner with you work with the Pacific Immigrants Resource Society for the tour, because I know that many immigrants coming into Canada with very little experience about farming. I think the exposure of our program to these new immigrants is very important and helps them to understand why we keep this garden state land for that purpose. I hate people still asking me, oh, why don't we build a convention center there, right? So thank you for doing that. My question is, Mike, you mentioned the word research. I think, well, I'm excited about that because right from the beginning, I felt that, this could be a research center for urban farming. So can you mention some of the projects that under the umbrella of research that's undergoing?
So all of our students complete a year of research. They start in the spring semester learning, well, of course, they have to have a stats class as a prerequisite. Then they learn fundamentals of experimental design and statistical analysis that goes with this design. They write up a research proposal. And then in the summer semester, they typically do their research. So right now I have a student who's working on different varieties of bok choy. And bok choy, one of the challenges we have with bok choy is that it tends to bolt in warm, hot environments. And so people often shade bok choy. She's looking at different methods of shading then, the typical shade cloth, but another shade source is solar panels. So this is called agrovoltaics, where you're actually growing shade-tolerant crops underneath of solar panels in order to generate solar electricity on the same land where you're growing food. So that's kind of an exciting project. I have 2 students who are doing projects on rice. With Mr. Shiroki, who runs the artisan sake shop on Granville Island, has been growing rice in the Abbotsford area for many years, and has questions about rice production that he's come to our students with. And so, one of the challenges with rice is that because it's typically flooded, there's a lot of methane emissions associated with rice production. But there are people who are experimenting with dryland rice production. So we have one student doing a companion planting study with dryland rice production. She's growing either rice monocultures or rice and spinach together. And then we have another student who's looking at the typical flooded paddy rice versus rice that's occasionally flooded, and then you allow the water level to recede. And so it's a variable flooding regime that she's using. So those are 3 of the projects. I have 8 student research projects going on this summer.
Well, my suggestion is that next year, when you do the same presentation, include those information. I think research is a very important part of the project.
Absolutely. So I would be pleased to. And if you don't want to wait for next year, you can go to kpu.ca/agriculture/student-research, and you can see all of the results of our student projects for the last several years.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. So no further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we will have the next presenter on the Richmond Farm School. So welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Wallapak Polosap, the Research and Extension Manager from the Institute for Sustainable Food Systems, and thank you so much for having me today to speak to you about our Richmond Farm School at Gilbert Road. So, to give an overview, so last year, the year before, after COVID, we had really big response. People really wanted to learn more about growing food, being self-reliant. So we had a lot more requests to join the farm school. So in 2021, we had put out 2 cohorts, Saturday and Sunday, but then it turned out that it was a lot of work for our staff. So last year in 2022, we reduced to 1 cohort on Saturday, 1 day a week, and our maximum capacity is 20 students. And we had 13 incubator farmers as well on site. We had 1.5 FTE of staff, and also we invite industry experts to come and give extra learning to our students. And we, in terms of the land, we have about 7 acres on site there. 2.5 acres of those were used for the teaching site. So we have vegetables and also orchard with apple and pears, and another about 3 acres were for incubator farmers to use. Incubator farmers are the program that was designed for our students who graduate from the farm school, come to the land, and then if they wanted to hone their skills a little bit more, starting their small scale farm businesses, so they allowed to be on the land and share the resources, receive mentorship, and also get to be in a safe environment to learn and practice their farming skills. So we got some good news in terms of site upgrades. We install another perimeter fence along the ditch close to the dike. So we have that. We already had the one closer to the nursery and the one close to the other farm. So this one is along the security fence, and then we install also the gate to enter. The separation between us and the community garden. So we had some issue with thefts last year. So we thought, okay, let's make it a little bit more secure, because we lost about $2,500 of worth of apples and pears, because and so some tools as well, because one evening people just came, and then the next morning when the class came, all the fruits were gone, unfortunately. And also we got processing area. And we received the shipping container, so now we can store our tools there a little bit more secure. And the access road has been improved as well. And for our operation, everything is, we're not hard funded. So a lot of things that we do, we rely on grants and donation as well. And last year, we got in-kind donation and also cash donation from different organizations. For example, West Coast Seed donate $5,000 worth of seeds, and also we receive from the City of Richmond compost. That's a lot of help as well. It's a big help in terms of compost. We can spread them around, incubator farmer can use them as well, and that's worth about $25,000. And we receive cash from the Good Food Access Fund and Canada Summer Job of about another $15,000. So we have different outreach activities. We provide farm tours as well to community members or other organizations who are interested. Food that we produce, we also arrange to donate to different organizations to support vulnerable populations. We were also nominated to be the finalists of the Real Estate Foundation of BC Land Awards, and we also a few YouTube videos here just to showcase the collaboration that we have of the farm schools and different community organizations in Richmond. And just to go quickly, it's not for profits. Everything that we have, we spend it all. We make sure we spend it wisely. And last year we were able to not be in the red. So this money will contribute toward this year operation of the farm school. And this year, unfortunately, we had still issues with staffing. So our whole team from last year quit, and we had advertised for more than 3 months, but we weren't able to recruit a suitable candidate. Mm-hmm. So we decided not to run the first year teaching program, but we still maintain the incubator program. So right now we have 13 incubator farmers still on the land, and the numbers of the acreage used is wrong. I just added wrong. It's about 2.5 acres and used for incubator farmers, and still orchard as well. And we have over 100 people on the wait list. We hope definitely we will reopen the first year program again next year, and hopefully it will be more lively again. And this year we have different initiatives. We are still working with the Pacific Immigrant Resources Society in terms of food donation, and we also working with the Zimbabwean Cultural Society, inviting them to the land to grow cultural appropriate food for that population, for example. We're going to run volunteer programs and community workshops as well. We still, last I heard, we still experience some theft. So during the spring, we had our incubator farmers leave their seedling there, and then they were gone. So it's still a little bit of a problem that we still have to deal with. So we hope to, right now we're printing a sign to say that, okay, please be think about our farmers here, making ends meet, and it's not for taking. Yeah, that's it for us for now. Thank you. I welcome any questions.
So with some questions, Michael?
Thanks. Through Chair to Delegate, my question is actually about the last slide there, the 100 people on the wait list. So if you can start up the first year program, how many people can you take in?
Yeah, unfortunately, again, because we had experience of running 2 cohorts, it was a bit difficult on staff. So we can only do 1 cohort for now. And again, because we're not hard funded, we did some calculation. I think each cohort is enough, like the fee that we put out, it's enough to support 1 FTE. But on the site, we need a little bit more, especially in the summer during the growing season, because we need a little bit more field staff. So we're still thinking about it, but definitely 1 cohort, unfortunately.
And is that 30?
20. I think anything more than 20, it's a little bit harder for people to really get that experience.
Okay. What about we just heard from the other Kwantlen group, their phase 2, their expansion. Is there any long-term expansion to any of the neighboring farms where there could be more land?
Yeah, we really appreciate all the things that the city has given us and the collaboration and all the opportunity. We definitely look forward to expand for sure, because, for example, this year a few incubators actually remain and they said, I'm ready to go from half an acre to bigger. So we expect that next year there will be more people who hope to grow a little bit bigger as well. So we're looking for opportunities for sure to collaborate and expand the area. And also one of the things that we learned is that, just like the SUS Act presented, the land has to be rested. So if we only have 7 acres and we just grow, there's no place to rest the land. So I think if we get more opportunities or part of some area can be rested, then I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, just to follow up then, I know that there's kind of that hayfield to the east that might be something that could get sectioned off or perhaps provide some of that opportunity. I hope that discussion goes forward. And then the other one, different kind of topic with climate change, sea level rise. We're on a record low flow Fraser coming up here, and the salt wedge of the high tides coming in. Is there studies to look at salt content that is coming through and potentially impacting the growing along the river?
Right now, we don't have that study done on that site in particular. We did some research in Delta on the salt content, but we haven't done official study. But I think this is a good suggestion, and I think we could try to play around with the site as well in terms of starting to collect data. So we'll keep that in mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you. Laura?
Teacher, thanks for your presentation. It's great. I hope it does keep growing and that you find more teachers, and it's a good program. I'm just curious with the access road improvement that was done. We changed our soil bylaw and made certain exemption limits for gravel to be brought in and whatnot. Were you able to work within that bylaw and have enough truckloads of material to do the road improvement, or did you have to go through another avenue?
The road access is not gravel per se. I think the gravel was only by the processing area. Yeah, the road access is still it's
just dirt.
Yeah, but it's packed better.
Oh, okay. Great. And then as far as the City of Richmond compost donation, I'm just curious, where did that compost come from? Do you know? Or was it just money to buy compost?
Oh no, it's the actual compost from the
old Harvest Power site, or we still have compost there? I want some.
Through the chair to Councillor, I beg your pardon. Through the chair to Councillor Galanders, the city has a contract with GFL to collect residential green waste, which in turn is composted at their facility in Delta.
Yeah, okay.
And then the city has an obligation to purchase an amount back every year. It's part of the contract of services, and the environmental services is able to provide this compost to some of our community partners, including KPU down at the Gilbert site.
Nice. Do we check the compost now, and how is it compared to, why is it Harvest Power? I remember Harvest Powers was like super clean, and then the Delta facility wasn't as good at first. Is it better now? Or?
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, I personally cannot speak to what it was before, but yes, we do have process and protocols in place to quality control. We have sent back material that was not acceptable in the past. That is not the case with the site at Gilbert.
Yeah, no, it's great that we could do that. Thank you.
Okay, so seeing no other questions, thank you for the presentation. So moving forward, item number 2 is on Hillboy Community Facility and Field House. So stakeholder engagement and delivery timeline. So anything to add to the report?
Nothing further to add to the report.
So do you have any questions?
Recommendation.
Move, second. Okay, some questions. Carol?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report. I think this field house is going to be very much appreciated when it's created in 2027. Excuse me. On page 36, you list the stakeholders, but I noticed that the public wasn't on that list. Will there be an opportunity for public engagement?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, throughout the life cycle of the project, there will be multiple opportunities for various types of engagement, which would include the public.
Excellent. That's what I was hoping for. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, just 2 quick things. Can we, when we talk about the facility, that it is a community facility with field house concept added on to it? I think it's very important that that be gotten across when this first came, and I brought this forward, that it is a community facility of 10,000 square feet, and the soccer and the other sport aspect is that. Okay, so I just think from point of view of council as well, because we're not just building, this is not, quote, a sports facility as such, it is a community facility. I think that message, if I may get across. The other question, which I'm really pleased because we are really in need of community space for meetings and groups to get together and whatever. It is on page 36. Is there a possibility, and forget the finances because that's our job, okay, a possibility of moving that forward? Carol asked about community engagement. Can that not be pushed up as well, that we start the community engagement, start talking to people, and not just the sporting community, again, the community, and following on your lead on that, because there are other groups, and possibly move that up?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, currently we're planning to initiate engagement as early as fall of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful news, actually. Thank you very much. Good report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Laura?
Thank you, through the chair. This is so great to see, and I think the timeline is really reasonable. It would be great if we can actually get it done in 4 years. I'm just wondering about design. I know that the washrooms are the most important thing at that site. People use it all weekend long, and there's just a couple porta potties, and the community center's closed. Is there any possibility of, when you come to the design concept, to have a couple of washrooms built that are, outside washrooms, and then there's going to be the building and more washrooms inside, or they connect to a way that would be able to build the washrooms first?
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, we can, of course, after consultation with the stakeholders and with the public, we can design what fits the community, and of course we can look at that option.
Yeah, because if washrooms could be done before 4 years from now, and then you can add on to it. If that could be the first thing that would be done, that would be, if it works with the design, obviously, but just keep it in mind. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, can I call the question? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carry. Thank you very much. So moving on to item number 3, WAS Regulations Bylaw number 10182. So anything to add to the report?
No, Mr. Chair, I have nothing further to add, and I'm available to answer any and all questions.
So moved, seconded. So any questions? Andy?
I think Carol, thought Carol was up there first, but, okay, thank you, and through the chair. Well, first, excellent report. A lot of really good information in there. I think it's really needed, and I think there's a lot of support out in the community, different stakeholders that support it. It's a tremendous asset we have, the waterfront, and the facilities are very important too. But along with that, there's a lot of risks and liabilities that go along with the potential. So with this one, I think it's great. It has a lot of teeth in it as well. So it's got a lot of meat when you read through it. Just a couple questions regarding it. And the first one is regarding the data and how available that will be to people. So when you're doing enforcement and and the report mentions that, names will be retained, names of boats, that kind of thing, even if they come in with a different boat. So how is that readily accessible to everybody who might be involved with, from bylaw officers to police to fire?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, I think I'll address the question in two parts. Firstly, the aggregate reporting of statistics can be provided to committees such as community safety, to parks, on an annual basis or even a monthly basis, as that data would reside within existing bylaw data sets such as Tempest, or if they are police-related files, those could be requested through the RCMP and their system Prime. In terms of names of the offenders, that would need to be, or violators, that would need to be present on the ticket itself.
Okay, great. One other question is just about, at the end of it, I realize that warnings, education, some enforcement, that's the key. We do want voluntary compliance with the vast majority of all our laws, including this one, including this bylaw. But when push comes to shove and you have a derelict vessel or something that's not seaworthy, as it's outlined in the report, how are you going to deal with that vessel? Like, there's not a tow yard, like a tow truck comes to a car and tows it to a lot. So what physically happens to the boat? How do you deal with that?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, staffers, because this is a new bylaw, staff will be developing a specific operational plan, but suffice to say that we'll be working with a contractor such as a tow operator to either likely to remove the boat from the water and store it in a city facility, at which point we will either dispose of it or auction it off depending on the value. But we can identify an appropriate contractor to work with to remove that vessel.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just want to emphasize how much I thought this worked. Like, it's very realistic. It's an excellent report, excellent bylaw. And I like the way it deals with other things too, like individual behavior of people. Like if you're acting in basically an unruly manner or in a manner that's dangerous to other people, you can deal with the people. You can deal with material that's stored inappropriately or in the wrong place. And you can also deal with the boats, because it's such a great asset for the city. And I think, we don't want to just focus on revenue, but there is revenue potential there too, which I think assists us. So yeah, just an excellent report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. Carol?
Thank you so much, through the chair. Thank you very much, Councillor Al. Well, this just couldn't have come soon enough. As the liaison to the Eastern Harbour Authority, they've been dealing with derelict boats, as have many of the marinas in Richmond for years. And the problem they ran into is it's kind of like a car. It's registered to somebody. And so while we just want to pull it out and put it on a lot, can you do that without going to court and going through the legal procedures?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, regarding the legality of the boat removal, I would defer to our representatives from law.
He's all over it.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we are able to remove the vessel without a court order. Depending on the nature of the vessel, we may need a court order just to transfer ownership, but that's only for larger commercial vessels. For ones that are just licensed, like pleasure crafts, we can sell those without going for a court order.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, is this, because I remember a few years ago, the federal minister came out and gave the Eastern Harbour Authority a big press conference, it was like $1 million to get rid of derelict boats, because it had become such a huge issue. Boats would literally get brought in and they'd sink, and now was all the problem of getting them out of the water, getting the oil out. So we're able to bypass some of that by these new bylaws?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, I assume the grant funding was actually for the disposal costs. So if the vessel has value, we can sell it at auction.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have value, we have the ability to dispose of it. We can try to recoup those costs if we can locate the owner. If we can't, then that's where those costs are incurred, and that's where harbor authorities in particular are subject to a fair number of costs across Canada when they're trying to dispose those vessels, because they don't really have recyclable materials in them. They're often fiberglass frames, and they can be costly to actually dispose of.
Yeah, okay, so then, obviously the best thing is not have the problem to begin with. Can we limit older derelict boats from coming in the first place?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we, in the current bylaw that we're proposing here, we do try to prohibit derelict or unseaworthy vessels. I don't believe we would have a legal mechanism to actually prohibit boats of a certain age or vintage as long as they're seaworthy.
Okay, I saw that in the bylaw itself. So is there a big damage deposit that people have to put their credit card forward, or the $3,000 deposit or something if something like that should happen?
Through Councillor through the chair to Councillor Day, we have required insurance requirements for moorage. I'm not aware of a mechanism where we can get a damage deposit, particularly for transient moorage of this nature, because it's so short term. For longer term moorage, that might have been an option if we were doing annual moorage agreements, but that's not the nature of what we're suggesting here for Imperial Landing.
Just a number of days, and so we can use the lift, raise the boat up, and tow it to a lot, and we don't need to go through a huge court procedure to do that.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, that is correct. Under the new bylaw, we will have the ability to do that if they're in breach of the terms of the bylaw.
Wow, great work. That's just going to solve so many problems. Thank you.
Good. So there's some recommendations on table. Okay, call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carry. Thank you very much. So moving to item 4, Minister Report. So for 4A, Laura?
Oh, sure. Thank you, through the chair. I have a couple of questions about lacrosse and hockey boxes in Richmond. I'll start specifically with questions about the Steveston lacrosse box. The lacrosse box really needs resurfacing. It's got a really rough, dangerous surface. The kids get hurt when they fall. What I was getting asked from the various associations is we weren't sure if anything to do with the Steveston lacrosse box is going to be changed due to the new community center being built. Were there talks about it getting moved or resurfaced at that time, or is it a totally separate issue from that?
I'll ask Jason to come up. He may know a little bit more about this than me.
Sure.
To the chair, to Councillor Gillanders. As of the moment, the Steveston Community Center's development doesn't touch upon these areas of recreational facilities. Currently, we are also updating the design for the playground design, and that also does not touch on to the lacrosse box. So, two parts of your question. If we have concerns on the conditions, certainly we can send our asset management crew to go out and assess. We also have approved capital funding to surface these courts. Currently, we have no plans or requests to update or change the use of these lacrosse boxes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, if you can put it on the radar that that box does need resurfacing at the minimum. They were talking about things like it would be great if it was on the other side of the tennis courts, and then there could be more parking where the box is. I mean, those are big things. But if you were looking at reconfiguring any of that area over there, that's something that the various associations think would be a good idea, but at the bare minimum, a resurfacing. And then that brings me to the idea of the covered lacrosse boxes. So across the Lower Mainland, there's been a few municipalities are starting to put these beautiful, wonderful roofs, preferably really high so that the balls don't hit the roof. And so Langley has a fabulous one, Burnaby's building one, Ladner has one. And what this does is it provides an opportunity for teams to practice all winter long when it's raining, because you can't practice lacrosse in the arenas in the winter because it's being used for hockey, for example. So it can give ball hockey and lacrosse opportunities to practice in the winter. Plus, community groups use the box, like at Thompson, for example, for Tai Chi and whatnot. And then it also provides some protection from the sun in the summer. And so this would be a capital, thing that I really think would be valuable, because if the other communities are all doing it, then those kids have a bit of a competitive edge. We want to make sure that our kids have the same opportunities to practice as much as other communities. So I'm just hoping that that is going to be considered in the sports needs assessment, or if staff could come forward with some options, whether it be Thompson, Brighouse, or Steveston, any of which box you think might be best to be the one that's covered, and provide some options.
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, a outdoor covered lacrosse box has been identified in the sports facility needs assessment and is expected to come forward later this year on that report.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so I can tell people that when they keep asking me.
Yeah, so staff can follow up on that and bring us the information, when
Yes.
is the time, okay?
And one more on this item is the Burkeville hockey box. So Burkeville has an older hockey box that's being used by some leagues for hockey. There's a lot of the talk in the community association about converting that to a pickleball court, or having some sort of a convertible, retractable pickleball net, so it could still be used for hockey as well. There's a lot of growth in pickleball in that community and support. So I'm just hoping that some sort of their tennis courts / pickleball resurfacing plus their hockey box conversion / resurfacing is included in the sports needs assessment as well.
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, you highlighted a number of items there for the park. We are doing some ongoing assessment of the area. We've done some improvements over the last couple of years. There's more improvements that still need to happen, and the pickleball courts are part of our review and assessment process as we speak.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, Michael?
Thank you. Through the chair, just on this item, and I heard staff mention that the sport needs assessment is coming later this year. Is there any chance we can get it by July, in case it has to get referred back, then it has time?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, staff are actively working on the report and trying to bring it forward as soon as possible.
Thanks.
Okay, right, good. So, Laura, 4B?
4B is Richmond Ice Center Ice Times. I've received a number of emails and talks from various Richmond Minor Jet coaches, and Richmond Jets minor hockey coaches, and board members about what's gone on in this past year with the ice times and booking. So apparently, just pulling up one of these emails, apparently last year the Richmond Jets did lose a number of ice times because of for-profit hockey and skating schools renting ice times at our ice center. Seemed to be more frequent last year than it has been in years past, and so we didn't get the ice times that we needed. And they are concerned with the ice center renovations, that since they're not going to be completed by the start of this year's hockey season, they're going to be ongoing, that if we have less rinks that are available to our minor hockey association, as well as these for-profit rentals being as much as they were last year, that we'll have even less ice time. So I'm wondering if you can provide some sort of a review that and provide a memo about how it's going to look for the hockey season this year.
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, as the manager of Arena Services, we meet with RAC on a monthly, the Richmond Arena Community Association, on a monthly basis. We have discussed this year's renovation with RACA, and we also brought the 4 minor sport groups to the table back in, I think it would be April now, and discussed the construction timeline so that they were all well aware. And in last week, the Richmond Arena Community Association Program Committee met to discuss all of their tournaments for the coming year, and took into account some of the private for-profit versus the other ones. So that was a discussion that happened last week at the program committee, the RACA program committee, to look at ensuring that everybody, it's a balanced slate in terms of what everybody gets.
So just to follow up, when is that going to get communicated to the Richmond Jets board, just so that they're... Through
the chair to Councillor Glanders, I believe they would have had,
they have a seat at that table, at the program committee. So maybe it just hasn't got back from their individual to the board.
Okay.
And then also, their executive director, we keep him in communication as it relates to the renovation going on the two rings.
So when was this meeting?
The meeting was held, it was back in late April. We had Wayne from the Jets, I believe his last name escapes me. He was at the table. We also had the president of the Ravens, president of Ringette, and the president of Connaught. And we also met with our largest adult hockey user group to discuss the timeline.
Okay. And just sort of one more follow-up. So would like St. George's School, for example, at the Delta Ice Hawks, for example, still be renting space at the ice center?
Through the chair to Councillor Galanders, some of those high performance groups, they tend to use daytime ice as opposed to evening and weekend, other than tournament ice. And last year, yes, there was 3 tournaments. I believe there's only one of those ones. The program committee took that into consideration this year, and so there is only one of those tournaments.
So it's going from 3 down to 1?
Yes.
I can pass that on. That's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good, thank you. So any other managers report?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to pass along some exciting news about this weekend with the Stevenson Salmon Festival. As you know, it's back on Saturday, July the 1st. This year, it's the 76th annual, and the Richmond Agricultural and Industrial Society and the Stevenson Community Society and the City of Richmond are all excited to embrace this year's theme. It's all about community. The festival will kick off at 9:30 with the Kids Bike Parade, which is back, as well as the parade at 10 a.m. And then from there, we'll go into the community welcoming ceremony at the Spirit of Stevenson stage at 12:30. And then throughout the day from 11 till 5, you'll see programming expanding across the village from the Gulf of Georgia Cannery to the Britannia Shipyards, including the Salmon Bake, which is back, the Chow Man interactive displays, and local performances on our stages, as well as the children and the youth zones. Festival finale will end over the water at Imperial Landing with the fireworks at 10:15. And then just to make sure that everyone knows, we do have the road closure in effect, which also we've made alternative transportation available through our transit as well as shuttle systems, and our wheel watch will be available. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yeah, I did have a question. Got a parking pass.
You do?
Where do we park?
So that one is located right where the P1 is on the map, and that is by the lacrosse box, in front of the lacrosse box off of Chatham Street.
That little thing?
Yes.
So you have 9 parking spots. Okay. Thank you very much.
Good. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, we can enter one.
I wanted to let you know that our summer exhibition at the Richmond Art Gallery opens this Thursday evening. There's a preview tour at 6 o'clock, followed by some opening words at 7 p.m. And the exhibition is called Moth-like Silvery Blue by artist Amy Claire Hustis. And the exhibit focuses on raising awareness about the Fraser River ecosystem.
Good.
This Thursday, preview tour at 6 p.m. with the opening ceremonies at 7.
Thank you. Oh, Michael, you got a question?
Question on that, maybe not, I don't know. We just received correspondence about a 100th anniversary for the Motor Princess steamship. Is that something you're going to respond or give us some memo on?
Yeah, through your worship, through the chair to Councillor Wolf. We will follow up with Gordon, and we're actually looking for an opportunity for him to participate at Maritime Festival, perhaps.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Carol, you got a question?
About an update on what's happening with Pajo's old location.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, is there anything specific you would like to know, or?
Has the new vendor opened, or?
Yes, the new vendor opened, do you remember the exact date?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, the new vendor opened on May 4th and has been operating 7 days a week since that time, and is operating as business as usual.
Okay, good, thank you.
Very good, thank you. So do